Hi, this is Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian nutritionist with Baby Bloom Nutrition, and this is Naptime Nutrition Take 2. Well, on Tuesday I covered eating out with toddlers, but as Facebook Live goes, sometimes reality is just too much, and that segment just had a little bit too much spit up in it for me. So here I am again to try one more time to give you the best information possible. So, eating out with toddlers. And this segment was, the idea was from my friend Rosema, who is jet setting around the world right now with her husband and toddler as her husband gets trained for a new job. He's having some international education. So she is in the uncomfortable position of having most of her nutrition and nutrition for her family come from restaurants. And that has a number of challenges, but she doesn't often have access to a kitchen. So she asked me about eating out with toddlers. There are a couple of different aspects that you want to consider when eating out with toddlers. There's nutrition and then there is behavior. So first, a lot of times those are related. So for instance, with artificial colors, there have been a lot of studies that prove that consuming artificial colors has a negative impact on a child's behavior. So sometimes nutrition and behavior are going to intersect like that, especially when you're eating out, when you don't have 100% control over what has been put in your food. But there are a lot of different aspects to eating out. And so remember that the number one thing when you're feeding your toddler and considering nutrition for your family is to encourage a healthy relationship with food. And that's all food. So that's healthy food. You want a healthy relationship with broccoli, for example, my favorite example. But you also want a healthy relationship with sugar. So what do I mean by that? I did a whole Naptime Nutrition on sugar and the evils of sugar. But I also mentioned in that video that you don't want a situation where you have a forbidden food because that just makes it more appealing. And if your child does not know how to react when it comes to foods that are maybe special treat foods, special occasion foods, holiday foods, then you're going to run into some problems there. So look at your situation. Are you eating out 3 times a week? Then it's not a special occasion. You need to have set guidelines that you follow each and every time you go out. Or if it's once a month, maybe they get to have a special treat when you go out because they know that it's a special occasion. So think about it. Is going out a special occasion for you, or is this something that you do fairly often and it's part of your regular routine? Because that's really going to have an impact on how you treat the whole situation as far as your toddler goes, as far as what you order and the behavior. So here are some ideas. When you're dealing with a selective eater, whether you're dealing with an actual selective eater or not in your situation, I always advise eating family style at home, which means that you have larger bowls and each child gets to serve themselves from that bowl and each adult gets to serve themselves from the same bowl. Everyone has the same options available to them. You as the parent are responsible for what you put out there and the timing, and the child is responsible for if they take what they take, how much they take, if they eat it, and the pace at which they eat it. And you're never going to really be in charge of what your child's in charge of. When you try to take over what their responsibility is, you're going to run into problems, and that's where mealtime becomes a battle. So why am I talking about this now? Well, take that theory and bring it to a restaurant. So I know that it's really common with Chinese food to go out and everyone gets meals and everyone shares, but for some reason that doesn't carry over to other cultural restaurants. So let's do that. Let's start doing family style at restaurants. It's easiest for your child when you take that idea from the home and bring it to the restaurant. So you can do that a couple of different ways. One is that each person order for themselves and you ask for extra plates and everyone shares. Another idea is to order off of the sides menu or the appetizers menu and eat kind of tapas style. And that's fun too because you get a little bit of everything. And the sampler platters are a great idea for that. And just have everything in the middle. Everyone has their own separate plate and you share everything. That's a great way to introduce a lot of different types of foods to your child and keep things interesting. And when toddlers are interested, they're more well behaved. You want to generally avoid the kids menu. There are some exceptions to that rule, and I would love it if you would comment below this video with any restaurants. I'm in Arizona, but wherever you are, any restaurants that's in your local area that have a great kids menu. So a lot of kids' menus are really just hot dogs and pizza and chicken nuggets. And as I mentioned in Naptime Nutrition Take 1 on Tuesday, I have a great recipe for chicken nuggets, and I'll post that below. And that's not a special occasion food, but if you're out at a restaurant, it's more likely something that's fried, possibly a lower quality meat. You just don't know because you didn't make it. You want to avoid those types of things for your kids. You want to order them normal food. Which brings us to the hot dog double standard. I wrote about this on my blog, and this is the pendulum swinging the opposite direction, where a parent orders something for themselves that's like a hot dog and a milkshake and fries, and orders some kind of fish fillet with a side of broccoli or whatever for the child. This is the hot dog double standard. I want you to have something healthy, but I don't value myself enough to order healthy food for myself. Think about that for a second. If it's valuable for your child to have healthy food, it's valuable for you to take care of your own body and have healthy food as well. So that's the hot dog double standard. Don't fall into that trap. Be prepared to share whatever you order. If you want to order something that you don't want your child to eat, you're really heading towards a battle. Don't order something that your kid isn't allowed to have because you're eating it in front of them. It's just not a really nice thing to do. And as they get older, if, let's say they have a problem with dairy and you want to order pizza, as they get older, you can explain to them, this isn't good for your tummy. But when you're dealing with a toddler, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, they don't understand that. They see you're eating something that they're not allowed to have. And that's not a very nice thing to do. There are plenty of times when you can get takeout, eat when they're sleeping, or if they're in school, or when you go out with your friends for a night. When you are eating at a restaurant with your toddler, be prepared to share anything that's on your plate, which is why you should always ask for extra plates, because you don't want to start a situation where you're allowing them to reach in and grab things. That's not modeling very good behavior. So now on to the behavior part. If you have rules at home, you want to maintain those rules. You don't want to set a precedent where your child can get up from their chair and run around screaming and then come back to the table, because when you're at a restaurant, that's not going to be nice to the other patrons, and they also deserve to have a nice time having their meal. So if you have a rule at home where you stay at the table until everyone's done, which that's a whole other issue, that has to deal with age appropriate and maturity of your individual child. But if you have that rule and that's working for you at home, that will work for you at the restaurant. So you should keep in mind, though, that if you have your child in a toddler seat, in one of those like the high chair seats, they've got probably about a 20-minute expiration on that. They're not going to sit there that long. Those seats are not very comfortable. Try it yourself. I know I tried one last week. Just kidding. The child is going to get fidgety at some point. It's probably about 20 minutes in. If you have an active child, it might be faster than that. You need to plan for that and look for their cues. When they start to get fidgety, take them by the hand and take them for a walk around. Get a change of scenery. Other things that you can do is be proactive when choosing a restaurant. Choose the right place. As I've said, if there's a particularly great place for kids in your area, please comment with the name of it below. I would love to see those. I would like to compile a list of those so that it's a resource for parents who would like to go out to eat with their kids. Timing is everything. I believe in schedules. People are here and there with how strict they have their schedule, but if you know that your child is tired, don't take them out to eat then. It's not going to be a good situation. Bring food. Sometimes it takes a really long time to get your food, and even if it's an appetizer, sometimes it takes a long time to get to the table, and sometimes when the food arrives, it's too hot for your child, and you have to sit there, and they have to sit there and look at the food that they ordered until it cools down enough. A good idea is to bring a little bag of something, bring some fruit, bring some of those vegetable chips that I love, something that your kid likes, so that when you sit down, they can start. You want something small, though, because if you order your kids' food first, which sometimes is a good idea and sometimes isn't, you run the risk of them finishing their food first. And when they finish before you do, they're more likely to get fidgety, and you have to leave your meal to go walk them around the restaurant. So it depends on the restaurant and how quickly the food comes out. It depends on your child. You might want to order food first, or you might want to order an appetizer like hummus. It's cold, it's fast, it's ready, it's healthy. You want to bring entertainment for them. You want to bring crayons if the restaurant doesn't provide. Photo books are great because kids love looking at other kids and they love looking at family members and knowing who that is. You know, my kids love that, just seeing a photo book and seeing grandma and grandpa, and they like looking at each other. So you want to bring that. If you have a rule no technology at the table, this is even more important because you don't want to just give them a cell phone or a tablet. You want to have something available that isn't technology that they can look at and entertain themselves, so they're less likely to get fidgety. You can talk about going to a restaurant before you go. You can say, this is what we're doing. Here are the rules. You're not going to get up and run around. If you're feeling fidgety, talk to me about it. If you want to take a walk, let me know. Of course, this depends on the age of your child, but it's good to pay attention to what's going on and to prepare them ahead of time. Sometimes people can actually have tea parties at home to prepare their kids. It's like a practice run for a restaurant. You want to make it quick. You don't want to take them to some fancy restaurant where it's going to be a 2-hour dinner because it's really just not going to be a good time for anyone. Unless you have the ability when they're really small to just put them down for a nap while you finish your meal. Those were the days. But in general, Paula, you're here and I'm almost wrapping up. In general, you want to make it quick. You want to choose some place that's fairly quick and be prepared for everything to go haywire. There's always the opportunity to take your food to go and eat it at home, preferably by candlelight. Just remember, this is not a war. You can't go into battle with your toddler. You have to look at this as an exciting thing to do, something fun to do with the family. And if you have to wrap up your leftovers, great, wrap them up and then try again later. So, if there are any questions or comments, please comment below, especially with any ideas that works for your family. Also, any kid nutrition friendly places. Oh, why a second take? Because the first one had too much spit up. So, any kid nutrition friendly places in your area, please comment below. And again, I'm Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian nutritionist and owner of Baby Bloom Nutrition. I do individual counseling with parents or families and also small group counseling, which I can do online, virtual counseling. So if you have a small group of friends, even if they're not in the same area, if one is in Australia and one is in England, we can all get together online. Pita Jungle. Claudine likes Pita Jungle. I like Pita Jungle. Well, I did anyway. Before. So if I can do small group counseling with people internationally as well. So check out my website, babybloomnutrition.com. I'm on Pinterest as pinterest.com/Yaffi, Yaffi, and on Instagram at babybloomnutr. So come follow me, come find me, and come like me on Facebook. And I will see you on Tuesday. I don't have a topic yet, so if you have a topic idea, please let me know. I'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks.